Key lessons from Desolation, a Book of Hope. Lesson 1. The opposite of happiness is not anger or sadness. The opposite of happiness is despair, which is the state in which everything is in the default state. It is a state of mind in which you see no point in doing anything. Desperation often leads to all kinds of bad behavior. When we lose hope, we give in to ourselves and to the world, and nothing matters to us. I suffer from depression, sadness, and even experience a mixture of suicidal feelings and thoughts that do not allow you to think properly. You basically don't care about anything at all when you're feeling hopeless. But what is the way out? Care about something greater than yourself and your personal desires. If you find no real meaning in your current daily life, and if you are overwhelmed by despair, the best way out is to start evaluating every aspect of your life. This way you will slowly begin to take control of your own life and start striving for something better. And to speed things up, take part in social activities and associations that have the same values as you. This will help you get back on your feet, while the attitude of being interested in something bigger enables you to move on. There are 3 things we need to build and sustain hope: a sense of being in a position of control, a conviction of the value of something, and a group of people to which we belong. Control means that we feel in control of our lives, that we are able to influence our destiny. Value or values means that we find in something important enough to make us work for it because something better is worth it. Human community means that we are part of a group that finds value in the things you do, and works toward achieving those things. Without a human group we feel isolated, that our values cease to have any meaning. Without values, it seems to us that nothing is worth pursuing and working towards. Without a sense of control, we feel powerless and unwilling to do anything. If you lose any of these 3 things, you will lose the other 2. Lose any one of these 3 things, and you will lose hope. Mark Manson. Lesson 2. You have 2 brains and they are really bad at talking to each other. You might think you have only one brain in your skull, but there are actually 2 brains, the feeling brain and the thinking brain. The thinking brain represents your conscious thoughts, your ability to make logical decisions, and the ability to understand how things work. Your emotional brain represents your feelings, impulses, intuition, and your constant desire to have more food and more fun. Each of your brains has strengths and weaknesses. For example, a thinking brain will definitely help you on a math test, but it won't do you any good if you need to convince a girl to go out with you. Also, the feeling brain will help you when you need to inspire others to take action, but it will never say, "I need to stop playing and working." Access to safety. Of course, the only way to achieve our goals is to strengthen the thinking brain and disobey the commands coming from the feeling brain. But this is not an easy task. The feeling brain is superior and has more power over us. The way forward is to ask what the thinking brain feels like. Say something like, "Hey, brains, how do you feel about going to the gym today?" Or, "How do you feel about changing careers?" Or, "How do you feel about selling everything and moving to Tahiti?" Or in other words, you need to bargain with the feeling brain and make it think you're getting a good deal out of all that talk. Your brain may not want to go to the gym today, but you might convince it to do 10 push-ups. Slowly over time, going to the gym won't seem like a bad idea. Lesson 3. Why don't we do the things we know we ought to do? In short, because we don't feel like it. All obstacles and things that we consider as bumps in our path to success are emotional problems. Not being able to stay off social media for just 5 minutes isn't a discipline issue, it's an emotional issue. You can stay online for hours because there is an emotional gap between how you feel right now and what you really want to feel. Maybe you're single but you want to be in a relationship. Or maybe you are in a relationship but want to be single, and social media allows you to spur your romantic desires by flirting with random people you don't really know but who are fairly certain that they are much better than your current emotional state. Basically, all your problems are emotional problems, and if you really want to stop procrastinating, stop stressing yourself out and get off social media, you first need to confront your inner struggles. So deal with your feelings to know your fears. It may seem easy, but it is not actually so. Discovering your emotional vulnerabilities is not a mathematical equation that can only be solved in one form. It is a continuous monitoring process that requires a lot of time and a lot of self-knowledge. But even if you find out what's wrong with you emotionally, that doesn't magically solve the problem. As the author says in the book, emotional problems are irrational problems, in the sense that they are not open to logical discussion. This brings us to worse news than the above: emotional problems have only emotional solutions. In other words, in order to find inner peace and joy, you need to start doing new actions on your brain to feel good and eventually lead to a brighter future. Lesson 4, there is no such thing as change without pain. There is no change without pain and no growth or development without discomfort. That is why it is impossible to become a new person without being deeply saddened at first by the person you were before. Mark Manson. We are designed to avoid pain at all costs. Our brain is gradually trying to lead us towards a pain-free life where everything is happy and comfortable. But constantly avoiding pain will not help you in the long run. In the age of technological progress, we have become very weak emotionally and physically compared to our ancestors. Nowadays, someone may criticize you on your Instagram posts and make you cry like children. Plus, we get so annoyed when even the slightest thing doesn't go our way, like forgetting a phone charger. But the only way to move forward and get better is not by avoiding the pain. For something better, you should head straight for the bumpy road barefoot. For example, wait in line without touching your phone and eat vegetables instead of sugary chocolate bars. Ask yourself, how do athletes improve their results? They do this by exercising at a stronger pace than last year. This is the only way to move forward. The pursuit of infinite happiness is a modern lie propagated by the world. What you really need is to stop running in the direction of sheer joy and, instead, endure the pain. Pain is part of us. Just choose the pain you feel comfortable with. Choose the pain you want to suffer for. Human pain is like a game of electronic games. The more you get rid of one type of that pain, a new type appears. The faster you get rid of those pains in succession, the faster it comes back. The pain may improve, it may change its shape, and it may be less catastrophic every time, but it will always be there. It's part of us. It's us. Mark Manson. Lesson 5, the world is based on only one thing: feelings. People spend good money on things that make them feel good. That's why pharmaceutical companies thrive regardless of the current economic situation. Medicines relieve pain and people feel relief. These people buy more pills so they experience less pain, and pharmacies make a lot of money. This also applies to all entertainment industries. The more you can influence people's emotions, the more money and power you will accumulate. How can you benefit from this idea? According to the author, there are two ways to create value in the existing market using the above innovations: pain of upgrade. In short, replace one pain with another that is more tolerable. For example, you replace the pain of having an ugly smile for life with a few years of pain from wearing metal inside your mouth. transfers, avoiding pain. Instead of studying for your exam, you watch a movie. Instead of exercising, she eats a serving of crunchy chocolate. Transformation products drug people. Although we all need these things from time to time, we get into trouble when these things start to take over our lives. Unfortunately, instead of focusing on raising the bar for pain, most new companies focus on getting us to avoid it. But you can do the opposite and help people get better. Lesson 6. Love people without expecting anything in return. Our desire for more material possessions and more wealth makes us believe that if we do something, we must get a definite result. Undoubtedly, if we work more, we should get more money. If we buy something for a friend, we should expect something else in return. But this way of thinking makes us constantly expect something in return for our actions, which makes us feel bad and disappointed when we don't get what we think is right for us. Instead of relying on expectations, and instead of constantly expecting more things from others, you might be better off if you lower your standards. In other words, don't expect anything in return for your actions. Every time you do one thing only to get something else in return, a spark of hope ignites inside you with the desire to receive something based on what you did. However, this way of thinking is not sustainable if you really want to be happy. To grow as an individual, you must act unconditionally. Or as Manson says in the book, as for a mature person, he loves freely without accepting anything other than that love because he understands that that is the only thing that makes love real. A mature person gives without expecting anything in return because waiting to give something in the return misses the meaning of giving in the first place. Lesson 7. Don't hope for the best, but be the best. Many spend most of their lives waiting for someone to make their life better. We change jobs, hoping the new boss will be more generous. We watch the lottery, and secretly hope to win even though we didn't even participate in the game. We vote, hoping the new president will raise our salaries. But that's the only thing we do, sit back and hope and do nothing else. Therefore, the above scenarios are unlikely to occur, to say the least. The only way we can have a better life is to live a better life. This may not sound like eye-opening advice, but we tend to forget it often. As the author said in the book, don't hope for the best. Be better, be something better, be more flexible, kind, humble, and disciplined. Some might add, be more human, too. But no, be a better human being. Perhaps if we were lucky, we will one day be more than just human. We can all be better. We don't need to donate millions of dollars to charity or invest in hospitals to be better people. We can simply be better parents, better partners, better friends, better citizens. We can do it day in and day out.